Stacy Hudson. Thank you for joining me today for an approximate hour-long Vinyasa Style Yoga class here at the Belleville Health and Sports Center. So today, we're going to get started by laying on our backs. Now, as always, if there's any music you'd like to play in the background, feel free to go ahead and do so. But just to start, we're going to have our knees bent. Find yourself in the middle of your mat and go ahead and lay all the way down. So with our knees being bent, maybe you bring your legs out, feet out to the edges of the mat, maybe a little bit further, and let your knees fall into one another. If this isn't comfortable, of course you can always go to a standard relaxation Savasana pose. But let's try to start with our knees bent and bring your hands to your hip bones. From here, we're going to soften our gaze or close your eyes, your choice. And we're going to begin focusing on our breath. At first, just let it be natural and just slowly melt into the earth. Now begin just breathing through your nose. You want an equal inhale to an equal exhale. If you need to count to yourself or out loud to make sure that your breaths are equal, feel free to do so. And again, just that natural breath right now, nothing long, nothing short. And then bring one hand to your stomach and one hand to your chest as you begin to lengthen those inhales and exhales, still keeping them equal distance. And just feel the rise and fall of your breath. You should hear a bit of a rumbling or a deep rasp be found in the back of your throat. That's perfectly normal. This is our Ujjayi breath. It means victorious. And if you would like, go ahead and set an intention for your practice today. And take note of anything that feels a little off in your body. And just mentally send that breath to that area of your body. Take a few more inhales and exhales, maybe lengthen them. Again, feel that rise and fall of the chest, of the stomach. Bring your hands up to the side, down near your hips. Heel toe your feet back in, keeping your knees bent or bending them if they weren't already, and then walk them in closer to your body. Place your palms on the ground down by your hips. And on your next inhale, you're going to lift your hips off the ground. Just come into your first bridge position of the day. Breathe here. And then exhale, let those hips lower back to the ground. Cross your right leg over your left. So that left ankle is just above, your right ankle is just above your left knee. Place your hands once again firmly on the ground and inhale, lift those hips up. Keep both of your hips pointed facing toward the sky. Don't let that right one fall down. And breathe. And then exhale, let your hips lower back down, uncross the right leg, return it to the mat, and we'll cross the left leg over, and we're going to do the same thing this side. So place those hands firmly onto the earth, inhale, lift those hips up, wake them up, make sure both hips are facing toward the sky, don't let that left one fall toward the side. And then lower your hips back down to the ground, uncross both legs. Inhale, pull both knees in toward the chest, reach for your shins here, and just rock a little bit from side to side, waking up that spine. And then bring some stillness there to your movement. Inhale, pull your chin toward your knees, pull your shoulders off the ground, tiny ball pose. And again, you can rock side to side if you'd like, or you can stay there in stillness. And then lower your shoulders and your head back to the earth. Place your feet once again on the mat. At this time, we're going to let our knees fall open wide, soles of our feet to come together. Reclined butterfly pose. It's our first one today. It's not going to be very deep. Don't be surprised if your knees are angled up a little higher than they normally would be. It's okay. We'll get there. And again, just breathe. Next, inhale, bring those knees back together. Pull the knees in once again toward the chest. Wrap your hands around your shins and just begin rocking back and forth until you eventually find yourself in your easy seated position. So I'm going to turn around and face you just for the moment here, but we're in our easy seated position, also known crisscross applesauce to some of you who may not be familiar with yoga out there. From here, our hands, bring them out to your side, place the palms facing forward, and inhale, reach them, stretch them up toward the sky, spread your fingers wide apart. Deep breath in, and on your exhale, you're going to hinge at your hips. You're just going to reach forward as far as you can, and then reach your hands out to the ground. From here, you can slowly melt into the ground, or if it's too much for you, you can stay right here. At each exhale, just see if you can't pull yourself a little closer to the ground. Maybe at least get your forearms down, maybe your forehead. And don't forget to breathe. We want to go back to our Ujjayi breath, in and out through our nose. Inhale, sit tall, reach those arms back up toward the sky. But exhale, we're going to reach them back behind our backs, interlace our fingers, pull our hands away from our body, and pull those shoulder blades back together. Take a few big inhales and exhales here. If you'd like, you can also fold over your hips, let those hands reach toward the sky, but again, you go as deep as you'd like. It's early in the practice. Inhale, slowly rise back up if you were bent over there. Release your hands out to the side, and maybe just do a few shoulder rolls here, forward and backward, just to release the tension that we might have just created. And then come back to stillness. We're here in our easy seated position, but this time we're going to change it out. So if your left leg is crossed over, you're going to switch it out, right leg, vice versa. Whichever is probably not your natural position, which I assume you went to first. Once again, hands out at the side. Inhale, stretch them up overhead, spread those fingers wide apart, and then you're going to hinge forward at the hips just like we did before, and let your hands fall down to the earth. And then again, you go into this pose as deep as you can. You may notice one side is completely different than the other. Try to keep both sit bones firmly on the ground. Inhale, sit back tall, reach those hands back up to the sky, and then release them back behind you, interlacing those fingers once again, pushing those hands down toward the ground and away from the body. Shoulder blades back toward one another, and again, if you feel like it, you can bend forward, or you can stay exactly how you were. If you have bent forward, go ahead and your next inhale, rise back up. Release your hands up to the side. like to go back to your natural position, yogi's choice here. We're going to reach our hands out to the side. Once again, inhale, up and overhead. This time, exhale, bring those hands down to heart center. And once again, we're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale, sweep them up overhead. Exhale, bring them down to heart center. And 1 more time. Inhale up. Gaze follows this time. Exhale, pull them down to heart center. Place your right hand on the outside of your left knee and place your left hand on the mat. From here, you're just going to twist, looking back over that left shoulder. Sit tall, don't let your spine curl or bend. You need to adjust your hands to make sure you're sitting even taller. Do so. And then from here, we're going to untwist it with our right hand. We're going to sweep it up overhead. Down to our right hip. Left hand comes over to that knee, and then we're going to twist looking back over our right shoulder. And then inhale, we're going to go that arm back around. Both hands are here next to your hips. Push the earth away. Push your chest toward the sky. Just a little bit of a back bend here. Gaze looks up if it's comfortable for you. Take a couple breaths. Release if you were pushing into the ground. Bring both hands to your knees. Push those elbows out and arch your back. Throw your chin toward your chest for a seated version of cat pose. And take a few breaths in and out here. And then on your next inhale, pull those elbows back toward the chest. Gaze looks up. Chest toward the sky. Seated cow pose. Inhale, sit back tall. We're going to just keep our feet where they are, but place your hands out in front of you and roll over your feet until you come into a tabletop position. Tabletop is hands under shoulders, knees under hips with a straight spine here. So from here, we're going to continue our cat-cows that we just started in a seated position. So on your next exhale, you're going to arch your back. Pull that chin to the chest once again. Really push that spine toward the sky. And breathe. Pull your belly button in. Engage those abs. And then on your next inhale, you're going to drop the stomach. Your gaze is going to look up. Heart open or heart toward the sky. Cow pose. Probably feel a bit of a release in your lower back here. Push the earth away with your hands. Exhale, cat. Next inhale comes to cow. And once again, you can continue your cat-cows at your own pace. Maybe you want to add some hip circles or a little bit of swaying from side to side. Yogi's choice. You do what feels right and what feels good to you in your cat-cow poses. And in a moment, I'll call us back together in stillness. Now finish out making sure you've done an equal amount of cats as you have cows. And come back to tabletop. From here, we're simply going to stretch our right leg out behind us, toes pointing down toward the ground, and take a couple breaths here. Engage that core. And then swing that right leg out to the side, about 45 degrees, and drop the toes down to the earth. Place the weight in your left hand and inhale the right arm up to the sky. You can go straight up or maybe a little bit further back if it feels okay to you. Gaze follows that hand. And then return the right hand back to the mat. Return the right knee to the mat. Take a breath in and out. And then on your next inhale, send that left leg back back behind you, toes pointed to the ground. And a couple breaths here once again. Now swing the left leg out about 45 degrees, drop those toes to the ground, and inhale, sweep the left arm up to the sky, or maybe a little further back. Again, your gaze follows. Return the left hand to the mat, and then bring the left knee back in. Once again, we're going to send the right leg back out, and then bring it over 45 degrees and drop it down. Inhale, the right arm's going to sweep up toward the sky. So this time we're going to thread the needle. So bring that right hand underneath the left arm, drop the right shoulder to the mat. And you can either stay here, maybe pivot that right foot down for a little bit more stability, or you can stay on your toes. And if you'd like a little bit more of a twist, reach the left arm up to the sky. Maybe it even comes down to the right hip. You take whichever variation feels best for you. And if you are twisted, release the hand. Place the left hand back underneath the left shoulder. Push yourself back up. Right hand underneath the right shoulder. Pull the right knee back in. Same thing, other side. Stretch the left leg out on an exhale. And then over to the left side, dropping those toes down. Inhale, sweeping the left arm up to the sky, and then thread that needle. Left arm underneath right. Drop that right shoulder to the ground. And then if you'd like to, with your right hand toward the sky, or maybe toward the hip. Don't forget to breathe. And then if you're twisted, begin to untwist. Push yourself back up into tabletop position. From here, once again, that right leg's going to stretch out behind you. We're going to keep it directly behind us this time, but we're going to flex and point our toes. And then bring that left arm out in front of us. Spread those fingers wide apart. Gaze looks forward. Return the left hand under the right knee and switch sides. Left leg out, toes pointed, right hand follows, flex fingers. Engage that core. It'll give you stability. Return the right hand, return the left knee. From here, walk your hands out to the front of your mat. Drop your forearms down. Come into puppy pose. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Flip those toes under and send the hips high for your first downward facing dog. And if you'd like to do so, go ahead and cuddle your dog out. Bend your right and left legs. And then bring some stillness to your dog. Don't worry about those heels meeting the mat. It's not important. Push the earth away. Make that V with your body. And then look between your hands. Come up to your tiptoes. And however many steps it takes you, bring your feet up to meet your hands. Inhale halfway, lift straight spine, gaze looks forward. Exhale, fold. Let's bend our knees until we can get the full palm of our hand on the ground. Let your head hang heavy. Inhale, slowly rise all the way up to high mountain. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Hands out to the side, Tadasana. Inhale, scoop them up overhead. Exhale, swan dive them back to the mat. Step your right foot back this time for high runner's lunge and stay here for a couple breath counts. Inhale, rise those arms up, high crescent. Pivot the right toe back down, warrior one. Keep your hip bones facing the front of your mat. Now drop the left arm in front, right arm behind you, warrior two. Sweep those those arms back up overhead, warrior one, and then pivot the right toes back around so you're in your high crescent lunge. Return your hands back to the mat to frame that left foot, and step the right foot up to meet the left. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, heart center. Hands to the side, Tadasana. Inhale, sweep them up overhead. Exhale, fold, swan dive. Step the left foot back this time. Couple breaths, just like we did on the other side. And then inhale, rise up into high crescent. Spread those fingers wide apart, make them active. Now pivot that left toe around warrior one, being sure to keep your body facing the front of your mat, hips facing forward. Come into warrior two. Right arm extends in front of you, left behind you. Inhale, sweep them back up, warrior two. Pivot the left foot back around, high crescent. Return both hands to the mat. Frame that right foot. This time the left foot steps up to meet the right. Inhale, half lift. And fold. Inhale, high mountain. And exhale, heart center. Hands out to the side once again. As we inhale, sweep them up overhead. Exhale, we swan dive. Step the right foot back. We're going to add on to what we just did there. Inhale, high crescent. Warrior one. And warrior two. Warrior one. Pivot those right toes around, high crescent. This time we're going to exhale and send our arms back behind us for airplane arms. Drop the right knee down, and then rise those hands back up overhead, low crescent lunge, and then bring your arms out to cactus arms. Few breaths here. Release those hands back behind you, interlace the fingers. Pull those hands down and away once again. Hold over that left leg and let your arms reach toward the sky. A little bit of balance going on here. Inhale, rise back up. Release the hands. Inhale, sweep them back up overhead. Flip those right toes back under if they aren't already and rise up into high crescent. Release your hands to the mat. This time the left foot steps back to to meet the right for high plank for 3 breaths. We're going to lower down to the mat. You can either do that push-up style, or if you need to drop the tabletop to get there, you do so. Once you've lowered, flip your toes under. Inhale, up into cobra. And exhale back to the mat. Flip the toes under. And once again, you can come through tabletop, or you can simply push up and then back to downward facing dog. And take 2 breaths to reset yourself here. And then come to your tiptoes between your hands. Let's try to make it in 1, 2 steps this time. Inhale, half lift. And fold. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, heart center. Release the hands to the side. And inhale, sweep them up overhead. Exhale, we fold. Step the left foot back this time for high runner lunge to begin with. And then inhale, rise up into high crescent. Pivot those toes back down, warrior one. And then warrior two. Next, inhale back up to warrior one. And pivot those left toes around high crescent. Sweep those arms back behind you for airplane arms. And then drop the left knee down. Inhale, let's go. Low crescent. Gaze lifts up, it follows. Exhale, cactus arms. Little back bend in this pose. Release those hands back behind you, interlace the fingers. Once again, you pull those hands away from the body. Exhale, fold over the right leg. Inhale, rise back up, release the hands up to the side. Inhale, sweep them back up overhead, and then pull that left leg back up, high crescent lunge. Return the hands to the mat, framing the right foot, and then step it back for high plank, 3 breaths. And then lower down to the mat, however you get there. This time, bring your hands up off the mat, just a little bit further. Then your mat is wide. Kind of make your hands into like you got a cupcake underneath them. So chin is currently on the ground. You don't want a lot of weight in your fingertips here. But on your next inhale, we're going to peel ourselves up off the ground. Variation of a cobra pose. We're not going very far though. And then return yourself back to the earth. Place your hands back underneath your shoulders. And this time we're going to push ourselves, all of us, up through tabletop. And then back to child's pose. You want to bring your seat to your feet. If it feels better to you and you want to do wide leg child's pose, feel free to do so. And then we refocus on our breath in this pose. In and out through our nose. We're going to continue to add on to that sequence. And your next inhale, push yourself up into tabletop, and then back to downward facing dog. Again, make that big V with your body. Push those hips back further and push the earth away with your hands. Look between your hands, come up to your toes, and then however you get there, whether it's stepping or if you would like to hop to the front of the mat, go ahead and fall like I did too, that's okay. Inhale, halfway lift, and fold. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, heart center. Release the hands up to the side. Inhale, sweep them up overhead. And exhale, we swan dive back down. Step the right foot back, high runner's lunge. Inhale, sweep them up, high crescent. Return that right foot, pivot it down, warrior 1, and then warrior 2. Bend a little deeper, bend that knee a little deeper into warrior 2 this time. Arms back up overhead for warrior 1. Make sure your hips are facing the front of your mat. Pivot that right leg around for high crescent. Sweep the arms back, airplane arms, and then lower the knee for low crescent. Inhale, sweep the arms back up overhead. Exhale, cactus. And then bring those hands back behind you, interlace your fingers, pull the hands away from the body, hold over that left knee. Inhale, rise. Release your hands, bring them back up to low crescent. Flip those right toes under and rise up, high crescent. Pivot the right foot back down and come into warrior 2 once again. Straighten the left leg. Hinge forward at the hips. Triangle pose. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Left arm reaches down for the foot. Use a block here if you can't reach your foot or the ground. Take a couple breaths. A few more. Bend the right knee. Come back into warrior 2. Drop the left elbow to the knee. Extended side angle. Now drop that left arm down to the mat if you can. Reach the right arm back behind you and the left arm underneath the left leg. See if you can clasp your hands here for a bind. Look up over that right shoulder. Release your hands if you were able to clasp them. Rise back up into warrior 2, warrior 1, and crescent. Return the hands to the mat. Left foot steps back. 3 counts of breath. And lower yourself Place your forearms on the mat, palms facing down. Take a couple breaths. Inhale up into Sphinx. And lower down to the right cheek. Next inhale, once again, come back into Sphinx. And bring the chin back to the mat. Place your hands on your shoulders. And again, your choice of how you get there, whether it's through tabletop or you should go straight up into downward facing dog. We all meet here. And we take 2 breaths to reset. And you look between your hands, toe to your toes, and you travel up to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Unfold. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, heart center. Hands out to the side. Next inhale, we sweep them up overhead, and we swan dive to the mat, stepping the left foot back into high runner's lunge. Next inhale, rise up, high crescent. Warrior 1, spinning that left foot back down to the mat, and then warrior 2. Inhale, back to warrior 1. High crescent once again, spinning those toes back around. Squeeze those arms back behind you. Airplane arms, and lower the left knee to the mat. Release the arms back up overhead, low crescent, and then cactus those arms. Heart lifts up toward the sky. Release those hands back behind you, pushing them away from the body and folding over that right leg. Ooh, don't lose your balance there like I just did. Keep your focus, engage that core. Next inhale, you rise back up. Release those arms where they come up toward the sky, spreading your fingers wide apart, pulling that left knee back up off the ground. High crescent. Now back into warrior 2. Inhale, warrior 1. Warrior 2, and this time we straighten the right leg, hinge forward, and reach the right hand down, left arm up for triangle pose. Bend the right knee, come back up into warrior 2. And this time, extended side angle. Right arm to the knee, left arm reaches up overhead. Now drop the right arm down to the mat. Sweep the left arm back behind you. Right arm underneath the right side. Clasp your hands if you can. If not, just reach for them. Make it active. For our bind here, gaze looks up toward the sky. Release your clasp, rise back up into warrior 2. Warrior 1, straight into crescent. Return those hands to the mat. Step the right foot back. Plank for 3 breaths. And lower down to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Hold it here for a couple breaths. So find what's comfortable in cobra for you. We'll come into a child's pose shortly and release this. And lower down to the mat. Remember to breathe. Inhale back up into cobra. And then this time bend your right knee. Right arm reaches back for that right ankle. Bring the right hand back under the shoulder, right arm back down, and return to the earth. Couple breaths again. If twisting and bending doesn't feel good here, just continue to do the standard cobra. Inhale once again back up into cobra. This time it's the left side's turn. So then the left leg, left arm reaches back. And then you unwind and return to the earth. Place your hands under your shoulders. Inhale up through tabletop. Bring those big toes together and then find your child's pose. Feet to feet, wide leg or regular, yogi's choice. You refocus on our Ujjayi breath. Rise back up through tabletop. Flip those toes under and come back to downward facing dog. From here, rise that right leg up, three-legged dog. Look between your hands. Step the right foot through. And from here, we're going to inhale, high crescent. And now we're going to step up, straight into crane. Okay, if you struggle or wobble, toes touch the ground like I did, it's fine. Step back, high crescent. Let's try it again. Next inhale, up into crane. And crescent. And one more time, inhale, crane. Flex those left toes. Send your arms back behind you for airplane arms. And then kick that left leg back behind you. If you want to stay here, that's fine. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, bring those hands out in front of you. Warrior three. Inhale, rise, back crane. And crescent. Return the hands to the mat. Left hand has the weight in it. Inhale, the right arm up to the sky. Turn the right hand to the mat. Step the right foot back. High plank again. 3 breaths as we've been doing the whole time. Lower down to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, come back to downward facing dog. Couple breaths. Inhale, left leg reaches up to the sky, three-legged dog. Look between your hands. Step the left leg through. Inhale, high crescent. Let's see if we can do this side without falling this time. Inhale, crane. Return back to high crescent. Inhale, crane. I'm really cueing you on the inhale, so you should be breathing the whole time. High crescent. Next inhale is crane, and we hold. Flex those toes, send the right hands back behind us, and then hinge at the hips. Shoot that right leg back out. And again, arms can stay here, or you can reach them forward. Warrior three. Rise back to crane. Back to crescent. And then hands frame the left side. Get steps back to meet the right. Plank for 3 counts. And lower down to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale to the mat. Couple breaths here. Push yourself through tabletop and back to child's pose. Inhale, rise back up to tabletop. We're going to sit back into hero pose. This doesn't feel good for you, sitting on your feet. You can always maybe put a bolster or a pillow between your feet and your feet, or you can just sit in easy seated position. From here, hands out to the side once again. Inhale, squeeze them up overhead. Spread those fingers, gaze lift up. Exhale, release them back behind your back. Interlace those fingers, and as we have all practice, pull them away from your body. Chest opens, heart opens toward the sky. Hinge at the hips, fold forward. Reach your head, forehead toward the ground. Reach those arms up toward the sky that your body allows. Knowing that it's perfectly fine to stay here on your back. Inhale, rise back up. Release your hands. Come up onto your knees. Step that left foot forward. Low crescent here. Spin the right knee around. Toes are back behind you. Face the right side of your mat and step the left leg out. Toes on the ground. Left hand down the left leg. Sweep the right arm up overhead for gate pose. Release the right hand to the mat on the right side. Left hand's going to follow it up and over for a variation of a side plank. If you want a little more, you can always kick back into side plank right here. But know that it's not necessary. Drop that left hand to the ground in front of you. Bend the left knee. Walk your hands back together. Rise back up. Bring your hands back down to heart center. Pivot back around. Frame the left foot. Bring the right foot back to face the same direction. And step the left foot back to tabletop. Same thing we're going to do on the opposite side. So squeeze the right leg through. Our low crescent there. Rise up. Pivot that left leg around. And then step the right leg out. Squeeze the left arm up overhead, right hand reaches down the leg, gate pose. I point my toes, but if it feels more comfortable or you'd like to stretch a little better, you can always pull your toes back toward you. And then flip the left hand down to the mat. Right arm reaches up and over. We've got our variation of side plank here, and once again, if you did it on the other side, you got to do it on this side. For side planks, but know that there's no need to do it if you don't want to. And then rise back up, scoop those arms back up overhead, return them down to heart center. Spin around, facing the opposite side of the mat now. Step the left foot back for tabletop. Drop back into hero pose. Inhale, sweep the arms back up overhead. Exhale, bring them down to heart center. Return to tabletop. If you don't have space in your area, you can turn back to face the same direction, it's fine. From here, right leg stretches out like it did at the beginning of practice. Toes are facing down, out to 45 degrees and drop it down. Inhale, sweep the right arm up to the sky, and then thread the needle. And left arm can float up toward the sky, or it can stay right where it is. It can go to the right hip. Lots of choices here. And untwist if you are twisted. Back to tabletop. Send the left leg out, toes toward the ground, out toward 45 degrees. And your next inhale, the left arm reaches toward the sky, and you thread that needle. And again, right side variation, yogi's choice. But if you are wound, unwind, and push yourself back up to tabletop. From here, we stretch that right leg out once again, but this time we point the toes away from us, pull the left arm in front of us, spreading those fingers wide apart. Take a couple breaths. Inhale, pull the left with right knee and left elbow together, curling that back, and then send it back out as you breathe. Inhale, curl. Exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, curl. Exhale, release. And then hands to mat, knee to mat, back to tabletop. One breath in, one breath out. Left leg back behind you. Right arm out in front of you. Fingers are reaching in the opposite direction of the toes. And then we inhale, crunch. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, crunch. And straighten. And the final time, inhale, crunch it in together, making sure you arch that spine like cat pose. Send it back out. You turn right hand, and then left knee. Snake back into hero pose. Inhale the arms back up overhead once again. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, reaching back up overhead. And then swing them back behind you, clasping the hands, pulling them away from the body once again. Big shoulder openers today. And then we're going to fold over our hips once again. Bring that forehead as close to the mat as it can come. And then inhale, rise back up. Roll over onto either hip. Send your legs out in front of you. And if you would prefer, we're moving into our cool down. You can always flip directions as we began our practice, but that's your choice. Inhale, sweep those arms up toward the sky. Spread those fingers wide, wide apart. Hinge at the hips and reach forward. Reach for your feet, for your toes, but know it's okay if you don't find them. Each exhale, you're just going to pull yourself a little bit closer to your legs. It might only be a millimeter, that's fine, that's closer. Release your hands. Slowly walk yourself back up to that strong seated position. Bring the right knee in, sole of the foot on the ground. Pull it in as close as you can. Really hug it in with that right elbow. Sweep the left arm back behind you. Gaze looks up over that left shoulder. Place the sole of your hand, the palm of your hand, firmly on the mat behind you. Breathe. Unwind, bring that left arm around. Now you're hugging the right knee with your left arm, and your right arm's going to reach back behind you. Palm of the hand on the ground, looking over that right shoulder. Just twist it out here. If you'd like a deeper twist, bring, instead of hugging the left leg, or the right leg, I'm sorry, bring the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Push the elbow toward the knee. And then unwind. One more time with both hands. Give that right side a big hug. Deep breath in and out. Send the right leg out in front of us. And we're going to pull the left leg in on an inhale. Hug it in. And then once again, we're going to twist each side. Be sure to breathe. Maybe each exhale you can twist a little deeper. And switch it out, opposite side. happy with what you find. And release what you're holding on to, slowly sit back up. One more twist here. Bring the right leg over top of the left, sole of the foot on the ground, right elbow inside of right knee, left hand behind you, flex the right fingers, twist around to the left side, flex the toes, and unwind, right foot out, left leg crosses over, and we twist just the same on the side as we did the other. And unwind, send that left leg out. Inhale those arms up overhead and gently, gently, gently roll all the way down onto your back. Take a full body stretch. And then bring your hands down near your hips. Pull your knees back in. Ground yourself, and on your next inhale, lift those hips towards the sky for bridge pose. Bring the left leg off the ground, point your toes, send it straight out. One solid line of energy from your spine. Return the right leg. Same thing, opposite side. We're not letting those hips drop yet. Right leg, point it out. Return the feet, and now return the hips. Drop your knees out, soles of the feet together. Recline to butterfly once again. Bring those knees back together. And one more time, we're going to come into bridge. No variation this time. Just hands on the earth, hips toward the sky. Pretend like you have a ball between your knees, that you're pushing it together. And return those hips to the ground. We're going to do one more bridge pose, go into our deepest version yet. So as we go into bridge pose, we're going to interlace our fingers underneath our back, and we'll roll onto our shoulder blades. If it doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can do a standard bridge. So inhale, rise, and then wiggle those hands and shoulders underneath you. Push those hips up a little higher this time and continue to breathe. Keep pushing that imaginary ball with your knees together. Release your hands, release the hips, and let the knees fall open wide. If you were truly pulling that imaginary ball in, this will feel great. Next inhale, pull those knees together. Bring the left knee into the chest. It can be the right, it doesn't matter. Reach around your shin, pull it in. And now send that right leg out straight. Guide the left leg, left foot over to the right side of the right leg, and just let the sole of the foot rest there on the ground for a second. Inhale, bend the right knee. Pull the right knee in toward the chest, just a different way to get into our reclined figure four. Flex those toes. Drop the right foot back down to the mat and let the left foot fall over to the ground once again on this side. Got to do all the untwisting and the twisting that we did while we were seated. back through center, uncross them. And then exhale, and then inhale, we come back, knees to chest. Pull your shoulders and your chin toward your knees, tiny ball pose, and again, you can rock side to side if you want. Release your head and shoulders back to the mat. Reach for the outsides of your feet and come into happy baby. You can continue rocking side to side here if you'd like. Maybe you choose to straighten one leg and then the other. Maybe you want to straighten both. Or maybe you just want to stay in stillness in your happy baby. I always say it's your baby. You do what makes it happy. Lots of variations. And then when you are done with your happy baby, send your legs toward the sky. Maybe you place your hands on the thighs behind them for a waterfall pose. And you can take any final variation that you would like. If you want to come up into an extended shoulder stand, feel free to do that. If you'd like to stay in waterfall, that's fine too. Wherever you have become, bend your knees. Place the soles of your foot back on the mat. Let those knees fall wide open once again for your last reclined butterfly. Return to the beginning of your practice where you were focusing on nothing but your breath. Pull those knees back together. Heel to your feet to the edges, or maybe a little further than the edges of your mat. Let your knees fall in together. Very slowly going into our corpse pose, our final resting pose, or Savasana, whatever you choose to call it. And when you feel like you're ready to go there, you go ahead and go there. Feet to the corners of the mat, spread your arms out to your side. Palms facing down or up, whichever is more comfortable for you. Take up some space. This is your time, this is your space, and you deserve it. And if you haven't already, you close your eyes or extremely soften your gaze and return to your breath. Equal inhale, equal exhale through the nose and the nose only. Cradling that head, placing your top arm firmly on the ground. If you set an intention at the beginning of your practice, return to that intention right now. If you noted that any part of your body did not feel right, did not feel great, again, return that breath to that area. Hopefully it feels a little better now. And with that top hand, push yourself up into whichever seated position you enjoy the most. And with the knees together, once again, bring your hands here today, Belleville Health and Sports Center over on 74th Street. You can catch